Apparently my brain's gone. I went out to breakfast, so I'm really full, and I think it's affecting my brain. So
You're on some jet lag.
yeah, a little bit. Well, honestly, today we were supposed to have Wild Weast on, and Mediocre CEO was nice enough to step up
Oh
and be
shit!
a part of it because he was having the internet's issues. He was having the internet flu. The internet was not working for him.
Damn.
So we rescheduling him for either the 17th or the 20th, but he's a cool dude too. I'm sad that we weren't able to get him on here. But
Man,
anyways,
yeah, Wild Weast right
yeah,
there,
dude,
man.
he's a good guy.
He's legit.
Yeah, he's a cool cat. So hopefully we'll get him on soon. But right now we're stuck with you. So let's
Yeah.
let's and to be honest, dude, I've been trying to get you on the show for the entire time I've been doing it. And so I'm so glad that it just kind of fell into my lap today. So
Yeah, I wasn't doing shit, just sitting
yeah,
here playing games.
dude.
So yeah.
Hell yeah, I love it. I love it. All right, so let's get this rolling. Welcome to Chatterday. My name is Dave_Loudon, and you are listening to episode number 12 of my podcast. Where each week I introduce you to a new and awesome small streamer. We talk about their channel, who they are as a person, and if there's some different game news throughout the week. If you're watching this live on twitch.tv/Dave_Loudon, stick around after the interview to watch us play a few hours of games. Our guest today is the one, the only, hailing from Texas, Mediocre CEO. How you doing, my man?
Yeah, what up, man? How are you?
Good, really good, man. Like I said, I'm actually really excited that this worked out the way that it did. Just because of like I was saying, I've been wanting to get you on the show for so long, and I'm so glad that we finally made it kind of work. Just out of the blue, I was scrambling because Weast was like, dude, I have no internet this morning. I'm like, oh no. So I just kind of, for the first time ever, before like, I'm on episode 12 now, so I've been doing this a while. So before I would be like, I was freaking out and be like, oh God, I gotta find someone. I gotta start at 9. I gotta do this. But then I slowly realized that like, as long as I'm like live within this day, people usually show up to hang out, and like,
Right.
I just keep everything up to date. So if you're not following my Discord, go ahead, go to my Twitch page, go to my Discord. That's where I give all the updates for Chatterday. If you're interested in that and you're listening via podcast. So anyways, yeah, why don't we just start off, MediocreCEO, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your stream channel and kind of what you do?
Yeah, no, I mean, so I guess we'll start with what I do.
Yeah, that's a
Mavs
great one.
Gaming.
That's actually a great place to start.
I'm the creative director for the esports division of the Dallas Mavericks. I worked on the basketball side for 6 years. I did everything animation wise, motion graphic wise, and video wise for the Dallas Mavericks. The stuff you would see in arena, those hype videos, the ribbon rings that go around an arena that say "get loud" and they explode. I made all that.
So I have a question. Let's pause right there because I have a question about that. So is there
Yeah.
special software that you need to use for that stuff, or is it like you just plop it out in like any video editor and it shows up?
No, I mean it's the Adobe package, right?
Okay.
So I mean I basically use four main tools. You got your Photoshop, your Illustrator for flat graphics, and then After Effects is my baby. That's the motion graphics program, and then Adobe Premiere for straight video editing.
Okay.
And usually they all work in conjunction with themselves, right? Like I create the graphic in Illustrator, then I might drop it into Photoshop to add a couple more elements. Then you drop it into After Effects to make it move and dance around, and then you drop it in Premiere to add music, and that's just kind of how they all kind of seamlessly work together.
If you've done any sort of editing at all, that's, I mean, like, because I do that on a simpler scale. Like what I'll do is I use a program called Hit Films Express. I don't know if you've heard of that one. It's just a free online program. You can buy components to it and stuff, and that's where I do all my video editing. But I usually do a lot of the stuff in what's called Affinity Design, is where I make all the graphics, and then I move that into Hit Films and like make it all move there, and then I export it and poop it out on YouTube. So
right.
that's just, I mean, like I feel like if you do any sort of editing whatsoever, you need to be versed in about 3 or 4 different programs, regardless of like you need a design program, you need a photo program, and you need a video program, and then just there you go, you're off to the races. So
absolutely. I mean, again, to put it bluntly, and what I usually tell people, whether they're like, oh, I can't afford Adobe Premiere, or I can't afford whatever.
Whatever the excuse is.
If you think about it, 30, 40 years ago, we were actually cutting film and splicing it together. So anything that can just make that happen, you're good to go.
Well, and
You
that's
know what I
so
mean?
funny that you bring that up too, because like I'm a prime example of that. Where when I started out doing this about a year ago, I was like, man, I've had limited experience with Photoshop, and I was like, man, I want to get Photoshop. So I looked at it, it's like $50 a month for
Right.
Photoshop. Like
Right.
just as a normal, I could understand if you're charging a business like 500 a month for that stuff and they can use it, but like that's really expensive for just an everyday user of a service like that. And
Yeah.
so I just said, screw it, went looking online and I found Affinity, which it's like $50 for the whole program forever with updates, and that
Yeah.
it was $50 for Affinity photo and $50 for Affinity design. They work a lot like Photoshop. You have your layers and you just kind of add your stuff
Exactly.
and it's just a matter of doing the research because a lot of people copy that Adobe format and just make their own
Mhm.
program because it's so expensive. Same with HitFilms Express. Like I'm not using Adobe Premiere by any means, but HitFilms Express, I mean, you can add graphics, you can have things come in and out. It gives you tutorials for everything. You can buy more for the program if you want to, but the base thing is free. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's a matter of
Exactly.
if you want to start doing this stuff, graphic design, motion design, video, just pick your program. There's about 5 or 6, 10 free ones out there. Do the research, find the right one. You don't need to be on, I think there's this perception that you need to be on Adobe in order
Right.
for it to be, professional. And that is legitimately not the case anymore. Just
Right.
not. It's just not. So, but you're fortunate enough that you work for an organization that pays for
Yeah.
that for you. So,
Yeah. And right. Like, I mean, and let's be honest, a lot of the programs you named, and I'm not gonna. This is gonna age myself. They didn't exist when
very true.
and Adobe was, it always seemed like the industry standard, but
It is
then
still.
they started this. Yeah, and it still is. But the Adobe switched to this subscription based model
Yep.
at some point, and once that happened, bootlegging their software became harder and harder. But when I
Mm.
started, and I'm not disclaimer going out there,
You're
but
okay. I'm an
I
old man
might
too.
or might not have bootlegged because you just have to get your hands on it, right? And
Yeah.
I wasn't doing anything at the time. You can't walk into a job and say, "Hey, I want to be a graphic designer. I
Yeah.
want to do motion graphics," if you have no experience.
Yeah.
So what I tended to do is, I found it online, and I would pretend that some brand was a client of
Yeah.
mine,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
then they hired me to do an ad, or they hired me to do a graphic, and I would
Just
make
make
it.
it.
And then
Yeah.
I basically built my portfolio out of
Fake
fake
stuff.
companies.
Yeah.
Yeah, fake
Yeah.
stuff that wasn't real. I wasn't getting commissioned to do it, but it made my portfolio look legit.
Yeah.
It looked like I did work for Coca-Cola,
Yeah.
right? Like, but I didn't,
Yeah. Absolutely.
So any way you can get your hands on it is, I highly recommend it, because that's just, how you can get ahead.
Chatterday does not endorse stealing software. Anyways,
No.
all of a sudden I get this email from Adobe. It's like,
Right.
we're coming after your ass. Give me the name of that mediocre CEO. We're coming for him.
Right. Bring it. I actually have a legit copy now. I have a
Wait, you
copy.
have a cop
I
looking
have a
into you?
copy.
Well, now you're kind of forced to with the way that you're like the subscription base, and I think like for people like you originally, it'd be like, okay, well, I get a copy of it somehow and I start working with it, and then as the new versions come out, blah 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 blah. But now it's like they're like, well, we can skip that step. Here's a free month. Here's your little
Right.
taste. Do what you want
Right.
with it, and then we'll get you hooked if you keep using it. So
Exactly.
I get it. I get the price point. It is the standard. People, I think they're charging what it's worth because you get access to you don't just get Photoshop. You get the whole enchilada for $50. They're
Yeah.
really cool about if you're a student giving you, it's only $20 if you're a student. So they're pretty cool about that. But it literally is just a matter of, $50 a month for a casual podcaster is way too much. Like, I already have to pay to put my podcast up on SoundCloud. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you've got to just pick what you want to pay for. Dude, what's up, Ichabod? Dude, that's another
Ichabod.
cat we need to Ichabod. Pick a date, goddammit. Pick a goddamn
Mhm.
Saturday. Get your ass on here. I need to talk to you for a good hour because that's another guy who's just got just some fantastic stories. If you're not out there watching Ichabod, you should be.
He's a vampire though, bro. He doesn't exist during the day, and your Chatterday is during the day. He exists from like about 11 p.m. till about 4 a.m. is his
I will
damn
make an
vampire.
exception. We will do a midnight episode just for that guy. I swear to God, I am not above doing that. I will get off work and we will do, because I usually work from about. I work weekends. I work as a waiter on weekends,
Right.
and so I work from like 5 o'clock until midnight, like Saturday, Sunday, Monday. But tell you what,
Yeah.
pick a Saturday. I don't care if it's a Saturday that I've already done a Chatterday. We'll do 2 Chatterdays that day. Pick a Saturday. I will we'll just do it that night and we'll get it out there, dude. Telling my secrets, dude. He is. It's all right. We all know you're a vampire, Icky. It's okay. We accept you for who you are. We don't
It's all
judge.
right.
We don't
We all
judge.
saw it. Dave, did you see the thing when Ichiban accidentally left his camera on all night and it
No.
streamed live and he
No.
went to like sleep on his couch right there? And like,
He did a sleep stream.
it was the best thing ever. But that's when I realized he really is a vampire. Like,
He closed the coffin and just.
he did. Yeah, exactly.
I'll find a date and apply sunscreen. Oh, okay, good. You just need to get some of that Blade blood in you. Like, go find Blade, and figure out what his secret is, and you'll be good. It'll be just fine. That was deep. Anyways, let's get back to you. So, this is what I was afraid of with being on a podcast with you, is that we just have. I don't think we're gonna get the topics today. I just don't. I think it's just gonna be this all
I mean,
day.
they're there if we need them, right?
Yeah, they're there if we need them. We'll see. We'll definitely talk about some Back for Blood at some point. But let's get back to you. So let's just kind of write out this Dallas Mavericks thing, because I think this is the most interesting aspect of is what you do. I mean, you do also stream, and you do have your own channel that you do actually do a lot of cool YouTube content as well. But yeah, what exactly? So I don't think we ever got to exactly what you do right now. We kind of stopped at what you did do. Now, what do you do?
Right. So basically, so I run the esports side of the Dallas Mavericks. So Mavs Gaming is, we were one of 17 original teams that bought into the NBA 2K League, and
Awesome.
they were all tied to NBA franchises. There are now 23 teams. We're one of 23 teams, and actually one of them is Genji Tigers from China. Other esport teams are finally starting to buy in, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a FaZe Clan, 100 Thieves, whatever.
Some of the bigger teams kind of
Yeah.
up in the arena. Okay.
Right. Because I'll be honest, because 2K is kind of a newer esport, and we're the NBA is kind of elevating it.
Absolutely.
It's kind of affordable to buy into our league right now. It's not like buying a league team or an Overwatch or CDL, you know what I mean? Anything like that. So basically, I basically run the operation side of that business. We have a coach and assistant coach that run the team side.
Okay.
And then I run the business ops. I help with sponsorship. I help with digital content.
Very cool.
I manage a content team. And basically, we're just trying to make our footprint in the esports world. And we have a pretty awesome parent company and a pretty awesome owner that kind of has our back as we're kind of sifting through this and trying to figure it out. So.
Well, I'm just going to name drop. Mark Cuban is pretty much on the forefront of a lot of that type of stuff. So it makes sense that he would be investing in something like the 2K League as heavily as he is, especially looking at that esports is already $1 billion industry. It only seems natural that someone that business savvy would look at esports and go, yeah, I'm sure he was one of the first people to sign up for that 2K League after just looking at numbers alone as to what it could be.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I think he was kind of, and I'm not speaking for Mark in any way, disclaimer, but I just have a feeling he was looking for a way to get his foot in the door and kind of like how it was going to happen. And when this just happened, and obviously the Dallas Mavericks are his baby. Yeah. It was kind of the best of both worlds. It's kind of like, wait, you mean my baby is kind of having another baby? Yeah. So he's like, why not? And like I said, it's relatively affordable to buy into this league, especially when it started. Yeah. And so yeah, we've been rocking since 2018 was the first ever draft and first ever season. So we're it's kind of perfect timing that we're doing this podcast because players arrive in market next weekend.
Oh, wow.
So we had our draft 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And I'll talk about what we made history 2 weeks ago,
Oh, cool.
by the way. But yeah, so next week they arrive in market. We have a 3v3 park tournament, April 9th and 10th, where 2 of our players, and then we pick an influencer. I won't name drop the influencer yet,
fine.
but we got somebody big from the 2K world that's gonna be our third. And then the season starts May 19th, and then we play till about the end of August, kind of right before the next 2K drops, and usually that's around September 9th, somewhere in that first week or so of September.
Oh, that's very cool.
But again, what I wanted to just shout out and high five ourselves, but
that's fine.
we drafted the 3rd ever female into to our team.
Cool.
So we at Mavs Gaming are even kind of kicking down barriers. We believe games are genderless.
They are 100%.
Right.
100%.
It's how you play virtually. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. How good are you on the sticks, as we like to say it.
Yep.
So we drafted Zaya. She from DC.
Okay.
She is one of the strongest female competitors and male or female competitors. So she's on the squad. So we're really excited. And to be honest, we made a lot of trades in this offseason, and we are truly making not only a playoff push, but I really feel we're making a championship push this year.
Dude, that's fantastic. That's amazing, dude. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's so cool that you drafted a female to be on your team. We were literally, I think it was last week or the week before. I can't remember. No, it was with Nit. It must have been with Nitwit last week. We literally had a huge talk about, hey, dude, like women are actually have the potential to actually be better at video games. They in general are a little bit more agile and a little bit quicker when it comes to that mind-hand reflex. I can't talk exactly very scientifically right now, but
I mean, I think you're proving it right now.
Yeah, actually, exactly. Doing things with your hands and they're very good at multitasking, and literally all video games is multitasking. That's it.
Right.
So video games are truly genderless, and I think that this macho attitude that this Call of Duty player team has to be all dudes because women just can't do it because they're just not interested in it. It's like no. Just stop right there. Stop what you're saying. Quit being an asshole. Because I guarantee you could put together a team of women on Call of Duty that could take on any full male team, probably just as well. Absolutely, 100%, not probably, just as well, if not better. I guarantee it that if you took the top women's team and the top men's team, put them against each other, the women's team might actually win it. There's a very good possibility that they would. I would pick the women's team over the man's team, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just because of. Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, well, no, I think we just need to kick down that barrier and that stigma that women don't play video games, right? And 100%. I think if we can get past that, and that's kind of, again, I'm hoping this. So when I say we drafted the 3rd, in fact, the 2nd was just earlier in the night than us. Yeah. So there was a female drafted in season 2.
Okay.
No females drafted in season 3, and then 2 in season 4 for our draft. So
awesome.
But we're just really hoping that these whether it's Zaya or DJ Lay who went to the Celtics, that they can just inspire these young women to stick with it. Or I think sometimes women feel alone, or as soon as they get kind of in a chat, I've heard just horror stories of just guys shutting them out or kicking them from a group or whatever, just when they hear their voice, and
pure assholes about it.
Right, exactly. Absolutely. I mean, what day and age do we live in, right?
Apparently the Stone Age when it comes to video games. I feel like video games has had this boys club stigma for so long. I mean, it's been with it since pretty much the inception of the industry. It's always been males pushing the video games, even though there are a lot of women who enjoy video games. I had a gal on here 3 weeks ago on the podcast named Call of the Fox, who's just super good at Rocket League. She's awesome at it. And she's going to be like, I want to be the best at Rocket League. And I'm like, yes, you should be. You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason you can't be. There's none at all. Mediocre is a feminist. Yes, he is. And I planned it. Honestly, I'm a feminist too. I'm not going to lie. I think that I really think there are a lot of things out there that need to change as far as like gender roles and stuff. And I'm actually living in a household with flipped gender roles where my wife does the heavy lifting on the work, and then I spend a lot of time taking care of the kid and work weekends and stuff like that. But we're on this planet together, man. At the end of the day, we're all here. We can all do everything. There's no limitations, especially digitally, that a woman couldn't do that a man couldn't. As a matter of fact, like I said, as far as multitasking is concerned, I think women are probably better at a lot of those stuff. They just are. We just are living in the Stone Age. Apparently, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. So hopefully, things like that, younger females see these women going in there, playing their hearts out, winning championships, and going, that's going to be me someday. And we just move forward, move past all this bullshit. It's not fair. It's not right. And it's certainly not a good thing for anybody, especially I think influencing on younger males in general. It's awful. With video games, I feel sometimes like when you get those, 12, 13-year-olds in a chat room and the shit that they hear in there, and like,
right.
It just ingrains that into kids at a young age that, oh, well, what if, there's a 13-year-old in that same chat room that you're talking about, the horror stories that women get into these, and then they think that's acceptable when it's just not. So anyways, my rant's over. Sorry.
Toxic. Yeah,
Sorry,
no, you're
everybody.
exactly right, though.
Well, I mean, you and I know this because we play DBD with a number of different women.
God.
And so it's just one of those things where it's like there's no difference in the way they play than anybody else. So I don't understand. I just don't understand it, to be honest, personally.
Not at all. I mean, again, I'm huge fans of Umbra and I mean, there's so many. I'm not even going to start name dropping, but there's just so many strong female gamers, no matter if it's Dead by Daylight or whatever. But I don't know what the affinity is. I feel like there's a lot of female Dead by Daylight
players.
A ton. You know what I mean? So.
Well, I think, and that's the one thing I'd commend the Dead by Daylight community. It is pretty racially unbiased. I don't ever see, whenever you don't hear voices. You don't hear a lot of voices. So if you get randomly paired, there's none of that toxicity of survivors talking, which I think is a very wise choice for a game like that. Because I feel like if you do had voice chat with random people in that game, the toxicity level would quadruple probably. Because you would just have people like screaming at you for not, because that game you have to play very particularly. If you don't play it the right way, the community gets mad at you, and that's just how it goes.
My god, yeah, the hate is just
I
there.
Gave you borrowed time and you didn't take a hit for me. What the hell, dude?
right, exactly. What I was told, I don't know if I told you this the other day, Dave, but I played so bad as the killer.
Yeah.
And it was embarrassing. I was embarrassed. I'm not gonna.
It's all right.
I'm not gonna tell you what I did wrong. But this guy, talk about salty winner. Like they beat me.
Yeah.
And I get this message that just said, "Hey, if you're that bad at the game, you should probably just uninstall it." And I'm just like, you won, bro. Like, chill out. Like, quit flaming me like that. Let's run it back. Let me try a new. I was playing a killer I don't usually play with. Okay. So I was like, let's run it back with my main and we'll see what we got. But anyway.
I cannot tell you the amount of times I've gotten emails from Dead by Daylight players that just say, get good. That's it. That's it. Just get good. Like, I know I sucked that round. I mean, I had an instance yesterday where I had a sweat team playing me first off, and I think I got one of them, and then the other three got out. And you get to a point where you're a killer when you it's end game collapse, and you just know they're all going to get out because you're like, well, shit, I made a mistake here. I downed this guy where there's no hook, and then these other two people are over here healing. So even if I was to get to the door in time, I could get one hit in before they leave. So there's just no point in doing anything but screwing around at this point.
Right.
And then so I did a match that it played out exactly like that. And then I went into another match, and literally within 5 minutes, I had slugged and downed everybody, and they were a higher level team than the one that I just played. So I'm like, that game is so random as far as scenarios and how things work out. Like, you could have a team gen rush you and then tell you to get good when it's like, bro, you all brought toolkits. And you got 3 gens done within 2 minutes. Like, what am I as a killer supposed to do at that moment when you have 2 guys who can run me? Or better yet, everybody on the team can run you. That's when it gets super annoying as a killer. It's like, okay, well, they've all got the scaredy cat on. I forget what it's called.
Spine chill.
Yes, they've all got spine chill on. The minute you get within 40 yards of them, they're just take off from the generator. And it's like,
Right.
what do you do? What do you do?
Yeah. When they all have matching outfits, toolkits with a new part, they're running Unbreakable, Dead Hard, and
Spine
Decisive
Chill.
Strike
And Spine Chill.
Spine Chill.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Nothing. You're gonna lose. You're gonna tunnel one person, and then you're gonna let the other three get out.
Right.
That's
And
what
then they
it
say
turns
get
into.
good. It's like, no. Anyway,
Yeah.
I could rant
We could-
angrily about it, but we'll play soon enough, Dave.
Yeah, you will see. We're actually going to play in just a little bit. That's going to be our game, I think. We'll play a couple matches at least. So tell us a little bit about your YouTube. Ichabod, you better be ready to play too. That's all I got to say. Tuxedo aces. Fuck. Oh my God, yes. Screw any ace in a tuxedo. Or if they're wearing a glowing outfit, just don't even bother chasing them. Just get everybody else and come back to that guy.
Right. Glowing outfit with a flashlight,
Yeah,
like just let them. You know they're not going to work on a gen.
No, they're not.
Just
They're going to follow you around the map the entire time.
Right.
Trying to get your attention. So you might
Right,
as well
but
go.
we're toxic.
Yeah.
We're the bad ones.
Dude,
So,
don't even get me started on that. There's so many times where just like survivors are super toxic, and then I tunnel one of them, and then I get a message just like, bro, if you suck at the game, you shouldn't be tunneling. And I'm like, bro, get good. Like, you shouldn't let me tunnel you then.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
Jeez Louise. Oh, man, that door just slammed, and I was like, whoa, what happened? So, my wife. So I'm going to actually have to take my voice down just a slight notch here, because my wife is apparently putting the kiddo down. So,
Gotcha.
anyways, let me just check something. Okay. So tell us a little bit about your YouTube and your Twitch channel.
Yeah, I mean, again, I wish I could say that I was more active on those. Again, I think doing that for a living.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to do sometimes is do it for myself
absolutely.
when I get home.
Absolutely.
So my Twitch channel has been a little dark. Even when we were gearing up for this, I was like, hey, I kind of broke down my camera. I had that 4K camera set up as my webcam, and so now I'm kind of gearing up for the season. So I kind of had to break down some of my equipment, but
That's okay.
I've actually fallen in love with YouTube. I think that kind of pulls on more of my editor strings anyway.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I've been, I've just kind of just coming up with themes, coming up with ideas, just little things here and there. But really what I love about YouTube is you can do it on your own time. I mean, yes, you should stay on a schedule, post every Tuesday, all that kind of stuff, just like a stream. But I truly believe, in my opinion, that YouTube is the way to grow your other platforms. The algorithm in YouTube, you're more discoverable. You can pull up other, YouTubers that have tons of followings or tons of views, and maybe jock some of their hashtags or steal some of their their verbiage, their title and stuff like that. Yeah,
I thought about that.
So basically, when their video ends, maybe yours is the one that's recommended to watch next.
That's a really good idea.
You know what I mean? So, and yeah, I think it's easy to shout out your own other platforms, build YouTube, but then if you can get YouTube up, shout out you stream every Saturday on Chatterday. Like, you know what I mean? Absolutely. And then people tend to spill over and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, I fired up both platforms. I'll be honest. I got started on Twitch because I just wanted to really dive headfirst into the platform and figure out how I can help Mavs Gaming's Twitch channel 100%. Grow. We're not even partnered. We've tried, but really? I mean, just like any stream, or especially like a shared stream, right? So you might have one streamer that's pulling 200 views, every time they go live, but then all it takes is one or two people that pull 10 to 20 to cut that 200 in half, and then one more person to cut it in half again to 50. And then next thing you know, you didn't hit that 75 or more average viewers in a month thing. And next thing you know, you can't apply for partnership. So we've been dancing around it for a while, but
Have you? I
I've read.
mean, that's a really tough one because when you don't have consistent content on Twitch, then that's what makes it hard to make that partner. Is you need to be, a lot of people who do make partner, they're streaming every day on a schedule, or
Hmm.
every few days on a schedule, whatever their schedule may be. But it's
Hmm.
the same person is consistent, and when you don't get that consistency, that's where you really do drop in those numbers, and that's a problem where I absolutely see why it'd be hard for that channel to get partnered like that. But at the end of the day, have you thought about maybe reducing your content on that and just going with what works for a month? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so that's where it's. So here's where that doesn't work for us.
Okay.
Is it's not fair to that one guy,
Yeah.
right? Like to that guy who you've got another. You got this whole team
Hmm.
of elite
Yeah.
2K players.
Absolutely.
But for some reason, well, not for some reason. Maybe the guy who pulls the 200 is
Just a bigger
he's
name.
charismatic.
Yeah.
He's bigger name. He's charismatic. He's more accolades
Hmm.
attached to his name and stuff like that.
Probably
Where
more interactive.
yeah. Where again, I won't name names, but
Yeah. No
we
need
might have
to.
another streamer who's more introverted,
Hmm.
and he might be the best at his position in the game.
Yeah.
But because he's introverted, he doesn't really engage with chat.
Hmm.
He just gets on and he'll play, and people tune in to watch him play at an elite level or watch him kind of like smoke people.
Yeah.
But he never really gets excited or upset.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And even on the court when we would play, that's what was cool about him having him on a team. Whether you're
Just
up
consistency.
50 or
Yeah.
down 50, he's the same guy. He's going
Yeah.
to still bring what he brings, and that's why you love him for that. I read this article the other day, and I might have told you about it when we were playing games the other night. But
Yeah.
100 Thieves, basically, New York Times interviewed Nate Shot, and
Hmm.
Nate Shot basically said there's two different types of gamers.
Yeah.
There's competitive and there's lifestyle. And your lifestyle are your ninjas, your Tim the
Hmm.
Tatmans, Nick
Hmm.
Merckx, whatever. And then you've got your comp players that usually form a team that this esport brand throws at competitions or
Yeah.
tournaments or
Yeah.
whatever, right?
Yeah.
And they spend hours a day practicing, running drills, scrimmaging other
Yep.
teams, working game plans, and have like a coach and
Yeah.
everything. But then you got these guys who play the same game, but they're more charismatic. They have fun.
Yeah.
They're not looking to be, comp players or whatever, right?
Hmm.
And so that was ultimately, in my opinion, the hard part, or still is the hard part about the 2K League, is usually brands go lifestyle gamer first.
Yeah.
We did the other way. We bought into this league and we drafted a team,
Hmm.
and then that's just who you have to work with as far as your
Yeah.
gamers. And a lot of them practice so much that asking them to be a lifestyle game or streamer,
Yeah.
or they've already played the game for 9 hours straight today,
Yeah. They
and
don't
then
want
you
to go
expect them,
try
yeah,
and be fun on camera with it, you know?
put fun on camera, yeah, and then
Yeah.
to be honest, there's also, well, for a while there was a different game. We didn't play the retail version of the game. We
Oh,
played 2K built a league build, is what it was
no
called, but
way.
yeah, so the general public couldn't play what we play. But here's the downside. Asking one of our competitive players to play on stream the retail version, our coach stopped. He drew a line
Nixed
in the
it.
sand
Yeah.
because their timing would get off. Their
Yeah.
3-point shot, it's all about holding and releasing and everything like that, right? So if they practice 10 hours a day getting their timing, and then they play a retail version where the timing's a little different, it can throw off the
Yeah.
release. So anyway,
Dude,
um,
that's crazy. I never even thought about that. Well,
yeah.
why?
So
And it's
sorry.
weird that they do that, where I guess I get why they'd make their own version, but don't you think they just take the same physics from the retail version and plop it in there? Like,
Yeah,
that's kind of weird.
I think it's 2K, right? Like basically, so to everyone plays at a base 90. but like in the retail version, you can elevate to a 99.
Mm-hmm.
So that we had to play this version that capped us at a 90. You couldn't level up or level,
Mm-hmm.
above where you are. And then that way everybody's an even playing field across the league.
Okay.
And then they also have just like the attributes are already built in and the dribble styles. And it's kind of like, when Hexy did the Dead by Daylight tournament, like he banned certain perks or they didn't play certain
Mm-hmm.
maps because they leaned more survivor heavy or killer heavy.
Yeah.
So he eliminated all that. That's kind of what the league build is
Okay.
a lot of OP perks get removed. Combinations, glitchy combinations
Mm-hmm.
get removed, and they just kind of keep everyone base like that.
Oh,
So
that's really cool.
yeah, so that's
That
kind of
makes
how
sense.
it worked. Yeah.
My question is, why don't they just have the base be 99?
Well, because then you're greening from half court.
Okay.
You've got sparkles coming off your shoes and shit like that.
Yeah.
It's,
Okay.
it gets all crazy.
Just
You're
ridiculous.
alley-oop dunking from the free throw line, and
Now, is it still the case that they have their own version for the 2K League, or is it now they're just kind of going off the retail version?
So I can't talk about
Okay,
that.
that's okay. You don't have to.
Or actually, what's funny is in 2 weeks I could talk about it.
Okay.
There's going to be an
Yeah.
announcement.
Don't say anything. Please don't. This is actually really an honor for me to talk to someone who actually is like on like a DNA or whatever it's called. Not DNA, like an NDA. Non-disclosure.
Yep. Yeah. So again, I
sitting in your non-disclosure tower over there. It's fine.
Right.
It's fine.
Right.
It's fine. We get it. We get it. So
yeah, I mean to touch on, but I can touch on one little thing. So for the past 3 years, Alienware was a partner of the league.
Okay.
And so we just plugged our SCUF controllers into Alienware computers, and these Alienware computers housed the league build. It's still the same game you play on console. Players were either using a PlayStation SCUF or an Xbox SCUF, right? But it was ultimately filtered through a PC. Alienware is no longer the partner of the league anymore. Okay. So that's what I can say, and more news to come in the next couple weeks.
Cool. Yeah, keep a lookout for that. Anything else? Let's move on to topics because we've been doing this for a good 40 minutes. Let's try and get a little bit of topic talk in. Anything else you wanna say or plug about your channel or YouTube or anything about you that you want to get out there?
No, I mean, again, I think rather than plug my channel, I just say a lot of my work goes to Mavs Gaming. So if anyone can shout that out or give it a follow or check us out what we're doing on those channels, that's mainly where you see the bulk of my work and the bulk of my team and what we're doing on that side. So yeah.
Mavs Gaming. I'm gonna put a shout out to it.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Channel. Let's see. Ely. No.
We're focusing on YouTube right now. To be honest, we've got. I'll shout out my man D-Man.
Okay.
He's been a 2K influencer YouTuber for quite a while, and he is growing our platform. I mean, he did one build video, or no, it was how to shoot on the new 2K model.
Next time for sure.
Dude, we're about to hit 500,000 views on that one video alone.
Oh,
so,
wow.
I mean, he knows what he's doing. He's so anyway, shout out to him because again, we lean on him for his advice. So he's a good man.
I just realized I was not following Mavs GG, so I just threw them a follow. And it looks like the last game they played was Mario Kart 8.
Yeah. So what's funny is we the retail version is kind of hit kind of a downswing at the moment. So, but what's funny is Mario Kart. Imagine a bunch of 2K professionals or 2K influencers logging in, but not playing 2K. They're playing Mario Kart and they're shit talking and they're giving each other hell and
I love it.
they're red turtle shelling at the finish line and everything like that.
Yeah, they're all so competitive that I can imagine that a game with, and literally like Mario Kart's one of those games where it's just an even playing field. Everyone, there's no special anything for anyone. It's an even playing field. So you do what you do in Mario Kart, and if you're in first, you're in trouble. If you're last, you get a bunch of stars. I don't know why that is. That's just how Mario Kart works. So
exactly.
But it's
bullet bills and shit like that
that
shoot you right to the front.
It's like, what is going on with this game? It's crazy. So yeah, that's actually a really good idea. Here, hold on one second.
I mean, speaking of, yeah.
My headset was dying, so I had to plug in. Anyways, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, shout out to my one of my recent YouTube videos where I did do the most stressful games that you can play during quarantine or COVID or whatever, and Mario Kart was
What's on
number
that
one on the
list?
list.
Oh,
I mean, it made number one. I think don't let the innocent look of it fool you. It's
dude, when you're in
very
first place
toxic.
and you have a lap to go, you're in trouble. Don't you got to watch out in that game. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, there's
All
no
you're getting
way.
is coins and banana peels and shit in first place. It's garbage,
Just
bro.
holding the banana behind you, just like hoping no one's shooting a blue shell.
Please. Exactly.
God, I love Mario Kart. It's so fun. Okay,
Yep.
so let's go with our first topic here. It's we're gonna start out. I need a transition. I need a transition to like a topics, either graphic or a sound, like some sort of alert that's like topics, and then like all sorts of shit after that. I don't know. I'll figure it out. We're
I think you
improving.
take that soundbite you just did right there, and
Topics.
then modify it in post, and there's your
Just
transition.
get
You
some
just
sort
did
of
it.
something. Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. Anyways, so we're transitioning over to topics. First thing, and we talked a little bit about this beforehand when we were getting ready for the show, but I'd like to start with this one. It's article from GameStop. It is by Steve Watts, and it's Back for Blood has been delayed till October 12th. Let me drop this in the thing. I'm going to read the first part of this article, but if you want to read the rest of it, go there, give it a like, give it a follow, do whatever you do on GameSpot. Here we go. Back for Blood has been pushed to October 12th, 2021, a delay of nearly 4 months after its previous date. In a statement, Turtle Rock Studios said it needs more time to make the zombie co-op shooter. On the bright side, it will be offering another chance to play the beta in the meantime. Turtle Rock Studios is working hard to make Back for Blood the best game it can possibly be at launch, and the team needs more time to do this, the studio said in a statement on Twitter. Therefore, we will release Back for Blood on October 12th, 2021, and we want to thank our community for the continued support and excitement they share, and that there will be that same excitement around the open beta this summer. So I mean, the rest we don't really need to get into. That's pretty much the meat of what they're talking about. So you were telling me how you were a huge Left 4 Dead fan and that you were very much looking forward to this game. Are you glad that they're delaying it? Do you think that delays, in your opinion, are they a good or bad thing?
Well, I mean, I'm glad that a brand or somebody who produces any kind of product, whether it be video games or anything else, they're self-aware enough that if it's not the level that they would like it to be at or know that it can reach, then take your time, right? Like, I think
Absolutely.
a lot of games, they get stuck trying to hit a deadline.
Cyberpunk.
Right, exactly. No, dead spot on, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I quit playing that a little while ago. I just couldn't get past the glitches, man.
Yeah.
And so you're exactly right. Like, get it right. Don't worry about it. And but on the flip side, don't try not to announce I know you're ambitious and you're ready to drop a release date, but if you're not ready, you're not ready. So I think it's a, there's two sides
double-edged sword on that.
Yeah, like, I'm happy they're self-aware, but damn it, y'all should have been more aware that you're not going to hit that deadline and really know what you're dropping.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm annoyed. I'm pissed off because, again, it wasn't until you showed me that damn article right before this thing started that I thought Back for Blood was
still
in a couple
May
months.
release. Yeah.
And so it's heartbreaking, but
well, what do you
again,
think? What do you think of them dropping the beta over the summer? Is that something? I mean, you're still going to have access to the game earlier if you want to do, because they are going to have that open beta come midsummer.
Yeah, and they did it before, and I watched they did it on Steam, and of course, I think you and I are both console, so so I didn't get a chance to play it. So I'm really hoping that the beta drops on console, but I feel like I've seen a lot of that beta. I mean, that's kind of like, hey, that thing we already showed you? Here it is again.
Here it is, like, for everybody. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I almost wish that they would give us, or games would give us especially in a situation like this, we'd get another, like, Silent Hill playable trailer or any kind of, like, God, do you remember, I don't know if you remember this, but the demo for, oh my God, Dead Rising? I think it was the third one, where basically you just played like a level that wasn't ever going to exist in the main game,
Yeah.
but it's the same, mechanics.
Concept. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was almost like a prequel. Like,
Oh.
so the story, whether you played it or not, you would still understand where it came from. But rather than kind of hearing the backstory when the game starts, you got to play a section of it. And
Oh.
I like that idea. And
It's a
I
great
wish,
idea.
right, like I wish more companies kind of would embrace that model. Like whet our appetite with something that you have. But I hate when you give me like a piece of a level, and then when the game comes out, I play that
Play
same
that.
piece again.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, that's the
So
easiest thing to do is just take a vertical slice of the game. It takes because essentially then you're just releasing a mini game on top of your full game at that point. You know what I mean? So
right.
like it takes a lot of thought. I think Resident Evil 8 was a great example of that recently, where they gave you basically
Mhm.
just a guided tour of their mansion with a little bit of action in there at the end. Nothing crazy. But it was still cool to like, you still get a feel for like the environment. You still get a feel for, what's going on in the game. It's kind of like a little prequel almost to what's going on. So I think in general, I feel like horror games are the games that are kind of driving that whole idea of like, okay, we don't want to give away any surprises because that takes away from the scare of the game. So here's something that we kind of developed outside of the game to give you an idea of what's going on, even though it's not the actual game itself. So
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
I totally agree with you on that. I think it'd be way cool. But how would you do that with like a Back for Blood? Would you just like release a generic level? Would you have like a backstory to it with mechanics? Like, because this is all just basically like you're in a sandbox and you just do your thing. You know what I mean? So
Right. Like I wish it, well, let's. So for those that don't know, it's obviously the same people that made Left 4 Dead
hmm
and Left 4 Dead 2. And I wish they'd pull on maybe our nerd strings and our nostalgia of those two,
yeah,
and maybe give us kind of like a gateway drug into Back for Blood, because obviously it's not going to be the same characters. I mean, hell, it wasn't even the same characters from
no,
Left 4 Dead 1 to Left 4 Dead 2. But I wish there was some kind of call. I mean, even let's be real. When we play Dead by
hmm
Daylight, and Bill is in
Bill,
there,
yeah,
right? And he's got like
the
the
four,
Left 4 Dead,
yeah,
yeah, wearing that sweater. I mean, that just instantly, like, I was like, oh shit,
yeah,
like that. It's good to see Bill again, and he's still alive, kicking
doing
ass and
his
running around
thing.
smoking his cigarettes and
Yeah,
stuff.
dude. No, that's a really cool addition how they were Valve licensed that. And I think part of the problem though is Valve. You couldn't go back and make a bridge without Valve's approval because
Right.
you'd really have to go talk to them and be like, "Hey, can we borrow some of your licensing for this demo?" And they're going to be like, "Well, we don't really care about any of that cuz Steam, so go away."
Right.
And I think
Exactly.
that's where I mean, I could imagine. I couldn't imagine that Turtle Rock didn't start production on this game, and the first thing they do is go to Valve and go, "Hey, Valve, like we're making another Left 4 Dead. We want the license. We want this." And I'm just imagining that Valve looked at him and went, "Well, we just make so much money off of Steam. Why would we give you money?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so
Yeah.
it's just one of those things where you really it just shows how little Valve cares about making video games right now. Because if Valve even gave the slightest inkling about making games, it would be a Left 4 Dead game, not a Back 4 Blood game, and that's just the long and short of it. The only reason Valve made Half-Life Alyx was to showcase their hardware, and that's it.
Hmm.
That's the only.
Hmm.
I mean, and their Valve Index sales went through the roof when they made that piece of software, which
Yep.
once again is just proof that software is what drives your hardware. But at the end of the day, they're just making so much money that they don't care. They just don't care. It's insane to me.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think
You're
making another Left 4 Dead game would be far better for everybody at the end of the day than making Back 4 Blood. I
Mhm.
Am I wrong? Like
No, no. I
so.
mean,
I mean,
even you asked what my suggestion was. Like, I was saying some kind of recall to Left 4 Dead.
mm-hmm,
If they could have made it work where this was Left 4 Dead 3 somehow,
mm-hmm,
and all of a sudden the world would have fell over in their chair. I mean, it's kind
yeah,
of like when we found out there
absolutely,
was going to be a Last of Us 2. You heard the crowd at E3 when they
mm-hmm,
did that kind of teaser, and you saw the Firefly logo on the stop
yep,
sign. The the world stopped for a second,
did.
at least in the video game portion. So if all of a sudden at E3 you saw like the severed forehand and
Yeah.
somehow it made a 3 or
Yeah.
something like that, I
Yeah,
think,
dude.
oh man, it would have been amazing. So, but yeah, you're exactly right. Again, I'm guilty. I almost bought what is it? What's Vive? Is it the Vive for
The VV.
Valve's?
Oh, it's
Yeah, the
Index.
VV.
Index is
Oh, Index for Alex. That's right.
yeah.
I was almost guilty of pulling the trigger on that, but I think my
$1,000
wife would
later.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. PC build, all that later. My wife would have
Yeah.
killed me in my sleep if
I sympathize with that. Yeah, absolutely.
right. So, but yeah, you're right. I'm and it's frustrating because for a while there, Valve was making the best games.
Best games.
I mean, Half-Life,
CS:GO, Half-Life, Left 4 Dead, Portal,
Team Fortress.
Team
Oh,
Fortress.
Portal. Yeah, Portal 1 and 2. God dang.
They were on top of the game, and then they just saw that that Steam money start rolling in, and they go, "Do we really? Let's pivot." They pivoted. They're not a game company anymore. They're a service. They're now a service company, and they keep saying, "Oh no, we're still making games. We're still making games." It's like, yeah, you made a shitty card game and a VR game. Like, where are your hard hitters? And you just don't care about that. If anything, guys, let's just license out the IP. License out Left 4 Dead to Turtle Rock. Just let them have the name. For God, I know you're not interested in doing it, but give them the name. And so it's just, I don't know. To me, it just makes no sense. I guess when you're making that much money on something, you just don't care to think about other stuff. You see where your gold's coming from, and that's the spot you want to mine. You don't want to go and struggle in this other area when you don't think that the gold's going to be there. You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of where they're at. I think now with the Epic Store though, and I think this is literally why you're seeing like Half-Life Alyx and some of these other projects kind of they're talking a little bit more about it, is they're seeing the competition they're getting with Epic, and everybody's opening their own store now. So you have a PC, I have 5 different stores loaded on. I have the Ubisoft store, I have the Epic store, I have Steam, I've got EA store, I've got good old games. Like I've literally have all those on my system to access games at this point. So that market is getting extremely flooded, and I think that's perking their interest back into games at the moment. So by the way, hey Juno, hey Donkey, thanks for coming by. Appreciate you guys being here. So yeah, it's just interesting to see Valve and see how they're going to evolve over the next 5 years, if they're going to start kind of opening up the floodgates to new games or not. Are they going to make I mean, literally the world would stop if they just were to be like, just drop a trailer, and the trailer, all it had was a giant 3 flipping in and then Half-Life stamping on top of it. The world would literally simultaneously shit itself. There's no other way to put it. No other way to put it.
My pants would be soiled.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. Absolutely. They would be the cause of an underwear buyout, you know what I mean? Because of that. And I think that they really need to use these IPs in a meaningful way. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Gordon Freeman's voice or something came in.
Oh yeah. Or the other company I think is guilty of this right now. It's just sitting on hella IPs and just doing nothing with it because of gambling instead of Steam Store is Konami. Like Konami could give a shit about making video games. They are producing Planko machines and slot machines and just raking in dough that way. And so once again, they've pivoted their plan and their games are on the back burner. I mean, you look at the last example of game Konami had, the Metal Gear. Oh, what was that? It was like some weird open world garbage game that nobody played because Hiro Kojima wasn't attached to it. And Uprising, something like that. Metal Gear something, but it wasn't really a Metal Gear game. It was something completely different with some Metal Gear mechanics and portals to another dimension. Very, very weird stuff. But
didn't play that one.
Yeah,
I'm glad I didn't.
Nobody did. You were not the only one. Yeah, let's look this game up. Hold on, I want to take.
That's amazing.
Metal Gear, newest game. It was called Metal Gear Survive. That was it. Metal Gear Survive.
Whoa.
Are you watching my stream right now?
I got it right here.
Second, I'll bring up the trailer real quick and we'll take a little look at it and see what it's all about, because like it was not a good game. And here's the 2-minute launch trailer right here. Yeah, there's nothing about this screams Metal Gear at all. You got zombies that have things on their head. You're trapped in hell, I guess.
The world beyond the wormholes.
It's not Snake, is it?
In a dimension separate from your
Yeah.
own.
It's like an open world survival game.
Abandon all hope from here on. Not to mention fear and doubt.
Trapped in hell.
Wanderers are
Yeah.
extremely
All right.
ferocious. They attack
Lame.
when
Yep.
they see
I
us.
mean, why?
If
Why?
we don't do something about them, there will be enough of them to destroy the human race.
This wasn't like free in the PlayStation Store. was
No,
it?
this was a full price title, I think.
Love it.
Okay, that's enough of that. I really think that they should have named it something different and released a whole new IP with that, but probably would have done better. I think people they literally released that just like a year or two after they canned Hideo Kojima, and everyone was so pissed that they were making a Metal Gear Solid game without him or a Metal Gear game without him that they just were like, all right. They literally, I think it was the fan base that tanked that game. They were banking that the fan base would be drawn to it to the name because of the name, and it turned out that it really was its biggest downfall. So I don't know if the game was actually good or not, but yeah, it screams Resident Evil, not that's about it.
Right.
So I don't understand their move on that one. They were basically just like, how do I put this? They're basically just like pissing off a bunch of people who are already pissed off, you know? So,
Yep. Exactly.
and
Exactly.
Then what's his name? Hideo Kojima dropped what was that game called? Death Stranding. And that's not even, I mean, that's a game about bringing packages from A to B.
Oh, you're a glorified UPS
Yep.
person in the future.
People
and
ate that shit up, dude. They loved it. Sold
I
hell of
tried,
copies.
man. I tried. It was gorgeous. It was a gorgeous
Beautiful
looking game. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Soundtrack was sick. Like all
Story
that
was
kind
good.
of stuff.
Story was really good.
But yeah, but I just couldn't. I couldn't. The more packages you put on your back, you might fall over. And
yeah.
I'm just like, oh my god, give me something else.
You're just
man.
basically running past everything and like putting ladders down to do this or that. And yeah, I get it, but it wasn't quite the game changer. I think Hideo Kojima was looking. He's like, oh, this is it was definitely a different experience. It's definitely something I've never played before. But at the same time, it's like literally you're having me balance shit on my back with L2R2. Like,
right.
That's your game. You know, your design breaking game right there is balance. You know, I did that in Uncharted, and they actually got rid of that feature because they realized that nobody liked trying to balance out with L1R2. So,
right. Or any of those old school skateboard games where you had to like balance on like the rail that you were grinding and stuff like that.
Absolutely. So. No one liked doing that. So, although it was pretty fun in Tony Hawk 1+2, but
right. Yep.
That was good. But they did it with the joystick and like I don't know, it just made sense. Donkey, have a great night, man. Have a good day at work. We'll catch you soon, my man. But yeah, it's it's just like I don't know, a whole game out of that concept of balancing on a log is
whack,
tough to swallow. But the story was cool. I really liked the whole idea of like that dark goop that just like devoured everything in you. But I don't know, it just didn't quite catch me the way I wanted it to.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Right. If you haven't played that game by now, you're never going to play it. I can tell you that right now. They're not going to release like an ultra mega version of this game but I hear it gets so deep towards the end. I hear you can start using weapons and actually like do some cool stuff at the end of the game that I feel like I hear from what I understand, if they would have put that stuff in earlier in the game, it probably would have caught a lot more people's attention, like do a little bit more fighting, a little bit more this or that. But I don't know. It's one of those games I look at it on my shelf and I go, I'm going to get to you. I'm going to get there. I love his stories. I love Metal Gear Rising is one of my favorite Metal Gears, and that's just pure Konami or Hideo Kojima story right there. You know what I mean? Like, so anything he writes is cool. Better yet, I just want Hideo Kojima to make a movie. Just make me a goddamn movie.
Right.
You know what I mean? I can spend 2 hours invested in your world. I don't care if it's a original IP or if it's Metal Gear. I just want to spend a couple hours in a world that he created and just be out of it. Because every game he makes is just. They're good, but they're just long. It's an investment. You know, you're in it for a while. Oh, I gotta be really quiet here for just a minute. So, anyways, do you have? Let's see. You do that shit on 2K when you have to lift weights. You have to balance the bar. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. So,
Oh yeah, in the Gatorade Center. Yeah,
yeah, in the Gatorade
that's
Center.
right.
So, I don't know. I don't play much of that game, so I don't know. But
Yeah, you have to go there and work out, and then
Oh, I
like you
see.
can get boosts when you play in the park and
No, I see.
in
I
rec
see.
center and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, no, that makes sense. So,
Who's it? Ikebon talking?
yeah, Ikebon's
Yeah.
talking about that sort of stuff. So, let me see here. Where are we at in life?
Well,
I
you were
mean,
talking about movies. You
we
could talk. Well, you kind of touched on
Oh, there
Resident
we
Evil
go.
too. So
There we
either
go.
way,
Let's well, we're kind of bumping up against the hour that I like to keep it at.
oh, okay, okay.
But let's just talk a little bit about the Ghost of Tsushima movie. So this is out of Deadline. This was actually one of the articles that Weist picked out to talk about. So let's see who wrote this bad boy. We got to give credit. Justin Kroll wrote this. So here we go. Sony Pictures and PlayStation Productions are developing a film adaptation of the hugely successful action game Ghost of Tsushima with Chad Shalinsky attached to direct, and that's the guy who did the John Wick series. The game recently crossed a massive milestone of selling over 6.5 million copies since July 2020. The game is developed by Sucker Punch Productions and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment and centers around samurai warrior Jin Sakai. Great game. Let me see if there's anything in here that's like worth it. Let's see. We're excited to be partnering with Chad and 8711 Entertainment to bring their version of Jin's story to the big screen. We love working with creative partners like Chad and have a passion for our games, ensuring we can create rich adaptations that will excite our fans in new editions, said Asad Kwasinski, head of PlayStation Productions. So it sounds like they might be going for something a little bit different. I don't know if you have you played Ghost of Tsushima at all?
Yeah, I didn't finish it. I forgot what came out, and again, like you were saying about Death Stranding, it's just sitting over there. I know how much time Ghosts will kind of suck out of me,
It
so
does,
I've
yeah.
right. I played it to a point though. I got pretty far. So yeah, I have a working knowledge of kind of what you're
the game's
talking about.
So it's
yeah.
It's if you haven't played it, go pick it up. Just go do yourself a favor, play this game. It is unbelievably good. I actually got the platinum trophy for it, believe it or not. And yeah, it's a lot of chasing around foxes. So I got the I ended up platinuming that game. Really fun. I dabbled in the multiplayer quite a bit. It's one of those rare occasions where they give you this awesome game, and then 6 months later they drop just an awesome ass multiplayer component to it that it has nothing to do with the game. Basically, they're telling you the history of that world through different stories, and you play through them. So but they're not obviously true. They have a lot of magical elements to them that make it interesting and fun and fascinating, and you have 4 different classes, and the multiplayer is it's a whole game in and of itself that has its own separate raid. It's like basically if Destiny had a 40-hour campaign game, and then they did everything else that they did. That's kind of what this is. It's pretty incredible. Tom Cruise is the main character. No Tom Cruise as the main character in this.
Last Samurai continues.
Last Samurai 2 is what they end up making. So he's like, all right, well, fuck it, we'll do it.
Well, then you would get Yui Bowl to direct. You and I were talking Yui Bowl earlier.
Oh yeah, let's get on that topic real quick because that was funny. That was an absolutely funny conversation they were having. This Yui Bowl conversation. So apparently Yui Bowl is a director who just directs B movies. I don't know. You explain. How'd you explain it to me?
Well, no, I mean, I think he is one of the first directors that kind of really started taking a stab at trying to adapt video games to film. Yeah. And every adaptation he's done, which we looked him up, it was Rampage, not the Rock Rampage, yeah, so Rampage, Blood Rain, House of Dead. We didn't realize he did Far Cry.
A Far Cry movie.
There's a Far Cry movie out there, everybody, and Yui Bowl directed. But what I was telling Dave is, if there was a critic that bashed his film, and there were so many that did, he actually just came out with a statement and challenged them all to a fight, physically. Yeah. He's like, you don't like my movie?
Physically
let's fight. like I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna beat you up.
So
So
let's do this, man. Let's watch the Far Cry trailer real quick.
okay,
'Cause, I
let's do it.
just found it. Oh my god, dude, this is fantastic. I can't believe this is a thing. Based on a best-selling video
You've got
game.
something interesting to show me.
Chino Research
Can
Facility.
fight harder and longer than any human soldier.
You saying you can't control it? Sedated! You're making brainless monsters!
Outstanding.
Don't you think it's a little far-fetched?
It's too good of a story to pass up. I'm calling to confirm that you were able to get that boat, Captain.
Special Army my ass. He's a drunk.
I'm feeling a Discord watch party coming in the near future. I'm just saying.
This is not an 80s movie, by the way,
I
everybody.
haven't said anything about being simple.
This is a mid-2000s film.
You're a sick, egotistical maniac.
Let's not go over the top.
Oh no. Oh no.
You are one persistent son of a bitch.
Oh no.
Kill him.
Is that your gun?
So bad.
So bad, dude.
So bad. Oh my god. I can't believe that that's a thing. Did they actually let that happen? Dear Lord. Oh my god. That's so funny. Anyways.
So what frustrates me, or let's be honest, look at how, I mean, if you guys get a chance, go to his IMDb, see all the films that he's made, and it's like he tried to making video games into films his like shtick. He's done it so poorly that he's kind of scared me away from video game adaptations, to be honest.
That's
and so
terrible.
when I hear one is getting made, I'm instantly like, oh, like, please don't fuck this up.
So this is the cool thing, though, about Ghost of Tsushima, and actually there's kind of a slew of other movies and projects coming out. There's an HBO show for The Last of Us that's coming out.
Last of Us.
And then there's the Uncharted movie that's already wrapped filling with Tom Holland that actually looks really good.
Borderlands, Kate Blanchett, and like all these people were signed up for Borderlands.
Kate Blanchett. Oh God, who's the one guy?
I think Kevin Hart is a voice.
Yep, Kevin Hart's in it, and just a bunch of huge names. That should be just if anything, it'll just be a goofy romp through something. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, it's something kind of like Mad Max mixed with, everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a fan of. I'm a huge Borderlands guy. I don't know if you know this, but it's actually made about 30 miles from where I live.
Oh,
like
cool.
it's made down here in Texas,
Nice.
in Dallas area, Frisco to be exact.
Yeah.
So big fan. They're kind of like Gearbox is local here,
Okay.
so anything that they kind of put out, we're kind of got a home.
Well, the Texas desert would be a perfect place to film that show.
Right? Like,
so,
exactly,
Yeah, no,
exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. Witcher's cool. We got Mortal Kombat dropping in April on HBO Max. And
Oh, yep.
that looks like it could be really, really good. I'm not going to lie. I'm very excited for Mortal Kombat. It might even actually draw me into a movie theater to go see that one. It just has so many things in the trailer for it just speak out to me, where it's just like the fights between Sub-Zero and Scorpion, and like, the part at the end where the guy has the heart and he's just like playing with it. It's like, dude, like this is what Mortal Kombat should be. So
Yeah.
It's very cool stuff. Ghost of Tsushima, but I think it's going to be in the right hands with Sony doing what they're doing. It sounds like they're trying to build almost like an MCU of their PlayStation franchises, and that could be interesting to me. Not necessarily like they're going to go full Avengers on it, but just the fact that they're making these high quality films out of IPs that already exist it looks like their goal. And who knows, maybe they'll do a giant goofy battle royale movie. I don't know, but as of right now, it just seems pretty cool that they're actually putting the money, the backing, the talent behind these movies to make them seem special. I think we'll get Uncharted and kind of. I think what's going to happen is Uncharted's going to drop, and then we'll see what happens from there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's really
yeah. Fingers crossed. I mean, right? Like, I didn't hate Tomb Raider that came out, right? Like,
that's a great movie.
Yeah, so I just feel like there are some success stories out there. I'm just really looking for that one to,
like the
which
Iron
one's
Man,
break the plane.
like the Iron Man of exactly. Not to go back to the MCU, but
exactly. I mean, right? Like we had Hulk, and we had all these kind of like stabs at trying to make and it wasn't until Iron Man dropped. So I mean, is it going to be the Last of Us HBO show, or is The Witcher's good? But what's that one that's like going to get like nominated? Not that critics' choices solidify, but you know what I mean? Like that it's just it's going to be that one that we all talk about, right? So
and that's a great question. I have no idea. I have no idea if that's even coming. I think the tough thing about making video game adaptations is that they already are so good at telling stories in that medium that sometimes translating it into film is tough. I mean, look at that Far Cry movie. There was a goddamn cyber mutant soldier for no reason. Those weren't in the game.
For fun.
Yeah, just because. And I think that's that guy's problem, is that he just puts stuff in there that doesn't need to be there. Hopefully they just realize that we have enough content in this IP already that we can kind of mix it around without still doing something original, but not out of character for that franchise. And that's the problem, is adding super soldiers into a Far Cry movie is out of reach of that franchise. That's not what video game people are looking for. They're looking for, a great villain that is really smart, really fun to watch, and learning more about that. I think Far Cry actually is more about the villains than it is about the protagonist at this point. People are more hyped to see who the next Far Cry villain is going to be than who the Far Cry protagonist is going to be almost every time. And you're seeing that again with Far Cry 6. They've got what's his name? I can't remember the guy's name.
Gus Fring.
Gus Fring. Yeah.
I don't know his real name. I feel like an asshole.
Yeah,
for not knowing,
it's okay.
Gus Fring.
The El Pollo Brothers guy from Breaking Bad or whatever.
Los Pollos Hermanos.
Los Pollos Hermanos. I love it.
Yeah, for real. I mean, again, I don't know if we've ever talked about this, but so obviously I studied film and I got my degree in film, but there was something that drew me to video games, because not only am I in love with like cinematic storytelling, but video games are a different new way of telling a narrative where you're immersed and controlling the character. Spoiler alert, I've never felt a connection to a video game like I did when I played Last of Us, and you were controlling Joel's daughter at the beginning of Last of Us 1. And no matter what you did, the outcome was still the same. And then I want to say I played that right before I played Red Dead.
Okay.
And then that happened where no matter what you do, it's the same outcome.
Same outcome, yeah.
And that's something you don't experience, or you don't have this bond. No matter how much you cheer the protagonist on in a film, there's this connection that you have when you're playing a video game. And I think that's why I was always so drawn to video games. And so to your point, who knows if they'll ever achieve it, because the video games are so immersive on their own. To kind of take it a step back where you're just watching a video game, that might be where it's tough. But again, fingers crossed that, like you said, we've got so many coming up with Uncharted, Borderlands, Last of Us, Witcher season 2.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
Kombat. We'll see what
Mortal
happens.
Kombat.
But I really do think you hit the nail on the hammer with that. And I think the thing you didn't talk about, though, was expectations. Is that gamers' expectations is that they're gonna get drawn into this movie like they did the game. Like they're gonna have the connection with the movie that they did with the game, and that's just simply not gonna happen. Just because you're right, when you're in control of someone and you feel like you're in that character, you are the character at that point. That's when. That's where you get that connection from. I think BioWare does a really good job with Mass Effect in that, where they make you feel that connection with the character and your relationships. They do it great with BioWare. Just does it great. I don't know why they haven't been able to make a great game in this last generation, but they do really. Previously, they have done really good storytelling with Dragon Age and with Mass Effect, where they're just you are that character. When you're in that game for that few hours you're playing it. You are in that character, being that person, making those choices. The outcome necessarily doesn't change, but that's still that's where you get that connection, and you just can't get that in 2 hours with a movie. It's just not possible. So
Right. Exactly.
anyways, let's I think this is a good place to call it, because we are running about the 1:15 mark,
Sure.
which is a bit long. I like to keep it around an hour.
Yeah.
But anyways, so we're gonna run. I'm just gonna do my little outro here, and then we're actually gonna take a quick, just like 5-minute break, and then come back and play some Dead by Daylight. Because why not?
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. If I can, I just want to give a shout out to you and I. I tweeted you earlier, but Game Attack and what they're doing on Twitch right now, and we don't have to dive into it or make the podcast longer. But dude, they just hit 14th. They might be pushing to 13 right now.
Go drop them a sub. Go drop them
a sub.
Yeah,
I mean, you guys, I've never even seen this happen on Twitch. They're relatively unknown streamer guys here in Dallas, and they are literally maybe ranked 13th out of all subs, Twitch sub totals. Like, they're almost to Tim the Tatman and about to pass him. I mean, it's crazy what these guys did, and they this whole March to the Top campaign. So again, shout out to those guys, just showing what you can do on this platform. And I think any of us that really enjoy Twitch as a platform, just watching guys do it different, or kind of like how they did it, is pretty inspiring. So
well, and that's if you have your Twitch Prime subscription, just head over to their site. I'm sure you can check my Twitter, and there's a link for it. Just head over to them and drop them a link before the month's up. Just give them your free Prime sub. I mean, these exactly what you're saying is amazing. It's called the March to the Top, and they're just
March to the Top. Yeah,
they're just like, we want to be #1 subscription on Twitter or on Twitch this month. So I mean, even if it's just one or two, even if it's just your Prime subscription, just throw it over to them. It's cool to see what's happening. It's an inspiring story. They're giving a lot of it to charity, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so. They're charity, and believe it or not, it's not pocketing. They're putting it back into their stream. They're like renting, or going to get a new building basically out of it. I think when they hit 27,000 last night, that's the plane tickets for all their mods to come meet them in person. So they're flying. So cool. I think they have mods in Canada, and they're flying them all here to Dallas to hang out. Cool. So that's just really good guys. Right.
For a guy like me, who's just sitting here doing a very small podcast, that's like the dream right there, where you take off like that. I guarantee you after this month, they're going to continue to grow and be huge. So it's really cool to see a group of guys come up with an idea like that. And they actually paired up. I mentioned this on Twitter as well. They actually paired up with Kind of Funny Games for a week and did a bunch of stuff with them, which, if you don't know who Kind of Funny Games is, they're literally my inspiration for this. Like, so amazing. Greg Miller is the fucking man. If I could ever meet one person, it would probably be Greg Miller. So anyways, that's the
awesome. Yeah, I just wanted to give him a shout out. I mean, again,
good,
when
man.
big things are happening on Twitch, I want people to kind of take notice, because it's cool, right?
No, it's very cool, and it's stuff that I think as content creators, who should be the main audience for what I'm doing right now, look at this stuff, look at what they're doing, and emulate some of it. I'm not saying go out and do your own March to the Top, but what I am saying is, like, think of creative ways to promote yourself. Think of creative things to do that aren't necessarily for the betterment of your channel. I mean, anything you do on your channel is gonna help it, but do something outside of it to help somebody else. Do a charity stream, or do a this or that. It's all about promoting your channel. You can be a small fry and still get out there. So anyways, I just want to thank all of you for watching this week's episode of Chatterday. Thanks to our guest, Mediocre CEO. When's your next schedule? You can either shout out when the next big thing on your channel is, or on the Maps GG.
Yeah, I mean, again, I've gone a little dark because season's about to start, but April 9th and 10th, tune into Mavs GG Twitch channel. It's going to be a 3v3 tournament. It's going to be the first official tournament of the NBA 2K League for Season 4. And then, season jumps off May 19th.
Nice. Okay. If you missed some of this episode, you can find it on YouTube. Just search for Dave_Loudon. If you don't have the time to watch it, I got you covered. Just type Chatterday into Apple Podcasts or SoundCloud, and you can listen to it there. Make sure to like and subscribe, because as a content creator, always say that just in case. I hope you have an awesome day. Stick around for some Dead by Daylight action. We're going to take a quick 5-minute break and get everything sorted out for that. So thank you, everyone, for watching the show. Appreciate you all.